Well, hello and welcome to our special International Women's Day webinar powered by the fantastic United Utilities. And today we are going to be talking about women, fabulous women, of which I'm joined by 3 in the studio, who are shaping everyday life. Thank you so much for joining us. This is all about, we always talk about International Women's Day. It's not Christmas Day. We want to celebrate women and role models every single day. So I'm joined by Jo Larby, Kate Cartledge and Jen Fenner. Thank you all for being here. Can you just tell us very quickly what you do and who you work for?
So I'm Managing Director and Co-founder of DefProc Engineering, and we are a small company based in Liverpool, and we do product development, and we take all of our clients from their idea all the way to their product and commercialisation. So it's quite an exciting journey. We do small scale manufacturers. We've got loads of 3D printers and electronics manufacturing, so it's quite an exciting space to be in. But what I do is I do things like this. I talk about what we do and the importance of innovation and the role of innovation within our economy, within our city region. I sit on the Advanced Manufacturing Board, so I have input into policy and all of those kind of things. So I like to look at the bigger picture, not just kind of what our business does. It's how we contribute to the wider region and nationally.
And you are so welcome, because what we always love to do is storytelling. And I love that. That's my job. I'm here doing things like this. But the storytelling is really important, isn't it? And that's one of the things we want to get into today, especially in male-dominated industries as well. Why should they be? Why can we not break that? But we can do it by talking. Kate, welcome.
Thank you. I work for United Utilities. And what do I do? So up until recently, I was responsible for this lovely area of Liverpool, Merseyside, and basically managing all the teams that look after the catchment, take the water, treat the water, and get the water to our customers' taps ultimately. And then recently I've come offline to look at our long-term strategy of kind of how do we get even better? How do we provide the best service, thinking about tech and improving and driving the best for our customers. That's kind of me in a nutshell. And alongside that, because I have been with them for so long, 22 years.
Surely not. Surely not.
I don't want to tell us enough. And I love the company. I am really passionate about it. And obviously, having been in a work kind of male and dominated environment for a long time and seeing it change and grow, which is fantastic, I'm really passionate about driving that change and keeping that change going for women. So I mentor and coach a lot of our younger apprentices and graduates coming into the business, kind of bring them along and get more females into the, not just into the industry, because obviously it has been female-led, but also into the operational side. So I'm an operational leader, so kind of frontline leading. So yeah, really, really passionate about it.
So thank you for everything that you've created today in this room. We have water, we have all the facilities that go with it, and I'm just, for those observing out there, just noticing you're very on brand. United Utilities green there. Look at it. It's not just thrown together, this, is it?
What can I say?
Jo, great to see you again. Thank you for coming over to our fabulous studio. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. I'm Jo. I work at Leighton, which is a software consultancy headquartered in Newcastle. My role is as a technical lead and the accessibility community of practice lead. So day to day, what that looks like is helping to shape our clients' tech solutions to future-proof them and make them usable by as many people as possible.
There we go. Easy as that. Just like that. For all things that come into every day, right? Now, before we get into the conversation, those of you who know me, you don't know I like a selfie, right? I'm not going to make you do it now, as soon as we finish recording. But I cannot go to Manchester, anywhere near St. Peter's Square, the library, without having a picture with our Emmeline Pankhurst statue. It's a thing. Even if I've got to divert out of the way, I will go, because that is a woman who has driven change through deeds, not word. So I want to ask you, start today by who is your Northern Power woman, whether they be living, whether they be past, whether they be fictional, whether they, whoever they may be. Who is that Northern Power woman in life that has shaped and made a difference to you? Kate, I'm going to come to you first.
I'm going to be cheeky and say 2.
Oh,
sorry.
See, this is what happens. Powered by you. It's a 2-for-1 already, right?
2 for 1 offer. And the two are very different, but very equal in kind of worth to me. So I'm going to be sentimental and say my sister first. So Lisa Littler, she's been in education for 27, 28 years. And she's been a real inspiration, not just because she's my big sister, but she was a head teacher for kind of 16 years and has really shaped kind of, obviously, the education of our youth coming through. And she was a national leader of education. She's now an Ofsted inspector and has set out on her own journey, running her own business for the last 3 years, because she converted 2 schools and took them from needing improvement to outstanding in Ofsted's inspection regime, and is now going and supporting other head teachers and helping them and shaping how they kind of provide education going forward. So she's a real inspiration to me. And then secondly, it would be remiss of me not to mention my Chief Executive Officer for United Utilities. So Louise Beardmore, she's brilliant. She is a proper powerhouse. And she's been a real inspiration. So again, she's been around 27 years in United Utilities, came in as a grad, and has worked all over kind of in the international part of our business. We've since held on, been in every department, and she is just a great speaker, and she's really motivational, and she's kind of an inspiration to me and always has been throughout my career. She's so customer focused. So kind of what she's done since becoming, she was customer service director, was all about the community and what we could do more for our customers. And she's taken that into her CEO kind of brand. So 3 years ago, we launched our county model. So, and I love that because it is thinking about the customer and our communities that we live in. So every community is different. So, what Liverpool customers want is very different to what our customers in Cumbria want. It's about Windermere. Down here, it's different. And she's driven that. So she's a real inspiration to me.
Oh, I've met Lou a lot of times, and I remember, because she comes from real humble beginnings, doesn't she? And
she's
I remember
a Liverpool girl.
He is, and I remember it's like, as she was growing up, the aspiration was very low, and she sort of battled through that, and will do, can do, has done, right?
And she's also dyslexic like me, not held her back. If anything, it's kind of, and I think that's what's really powerful in understanding. We all bring different things to the table. We all come through different walks of life. That shouldn't hold you back. So it's really great.
Jen, what's the Northern Power Women that's really motivated you?
So I had to have like a really good think about this.
You haven't got 2 as well, have you?
So I do, but they're related.
Okay,
they're very much related. So my Northern Power Women, she's not from the north, but she influenced Liverpool. So she's Florence Nightingale, and obviously, I'm expecting people know who Florence Nightingale is, that she was the founder of basically modern nursing, of how we do our nursing today. But she's just such an incredible person to kind of study and look at. I've listened to loads of podcasts about her, and every time I'm just like, wow, this woman was amazing. She was a person who invented the pie chart alongside nursing and sanitization and hygiene. She also created data visualization as we know it today, to basically be able to prove and show how to fight diseases and infections. And she had to battle people's kind of misunderstanding about how diseases and infections were passed on. And the reason why she's related to me is because she mentored the construction of the Royal Infirmary that's in Liverpool back in 1890, and my mum worked there. She started her career in the Royal Infirmary in the 1970s, and she had kind of a 37-year career in the NHS, and she started off as a staff nurse and then rose all the way up to senior manager. And she's kind of like that first generation of women that were able to get to the top of their profession. And she was involved in, like my mum was involved in so much, particularly around infectious diseases. She was involved in the AIDS crisis in Liverpool and managing all of those patients and all of those kind of things. And she led hundreds of staff. She managed all kinds of different wards, all on her own. She kind of just took on all of this stuff, but she had a massive input into the care, how the care was delivered in the hospitals, how we dealt with infectious diseases. And she just had this incredible career. And it was like listening to her talk every day as a kid about what she was doing. She'd say, we're coming home. Or she'd come home and she'd say, right, today we did kind of a drill on what if we had a smallpox outbreak and what does that look like and how do we manage it? Because she would be a key person should anything like that happen. So it was fascinating. But because she had this bigger picture view, I've kind of brought that into my way of thinking. So it's why I sit on the board of advanced manufacturing. It's why I want to talk about how innovation is an economy-wide kind of mover, really. And obviously that's in line with government thinking, but I've been talking about it for a long time. And yeah, we're only small, which I'm not a big company, but knowing about the bigger picture and understanding how it can be transformational if you just spread the word and be in the right rooms and all of those kind of things is enormous. So that was kind of like, I was like, okay, we'll go with that thread because it has had a direct influence.
That's unbelievable. And you think we use the word, don't we? Inspirational, trailblazing, but that is, talk about blazing a trail, talk about knocking down barriers, talk about getting through glass walls, ceilings and everything else in between, but making a change.
Yeah.
Wow. Changing the world. Jo,
So
no
I
pressure.
have three.
I feel better now.
But I feel worse because one of them isn't my sister.
You're going to be in trouble now,
I
Jo.
am. But yeah, I was having a think, and there's probably three that relate most closely to me. So the first one is Vic Hope, who went to my school. So kind of having seen, she was actually in my sister's class. So having seen kind of her career and everything she does on the charitable side, that's something quite close to me. I like to try and give back. And I think it's important that the tech community does give back as well. So being able to kind of see how she does that alongside her day job is really, like, stands out for me. The second one is Professor Sue Black and all of the work that she's done for women in tech. So for those that don't know, Bletchley Park was going to get closed down, and she did a massive campaign on Twitter back in the day and raised a lot of money and support in order to keep that up and running. And she is a big advocate within the North for students going into tech. And the final one is someone that's had more of an impact on me directly, and that is Helen Baker from Accenture, who is one of my previous mentors. So Helen is sort of the perfect role model in the sense that she has a family, she is a working mum, but she cares about her employees and kind of their well-being, and being able to see how she kind of shapes her career alongside the work that she does with clients and kind of the people around her has been really inspirational to me.
Do you know what? I love the fact that you've all gone a bit rogue. Because, do you know what? Wouldn't it be an awful place if we were struggling to think of the individuals who inspire us and who motivate us, and the ones that have literally, they were so ahead of their time. They, Florence Nightingale, before innovation was even called a government phrase, or, this is actually making that difference. And I think, a lot of these industries we've talked about, whether it be digital, whether it be engineering, infrastructure, technical, utilities, they can all be labelled and badged, can't they, as male-dominated industries.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Actually, many of them are male-dominated industries. But we stand on the shoulders of giants, don't we, of these phenomenal humans, including his sister. We need to give Jo's sister a shout as well. Otherwise, family gatherings are not going to be good again, are they? So we need to, But a lot of this is about, you talked before, Jen, about storytelling, the importance of storytelling in attracting talent into our industries and into our sectors. And often we will have wiggly careers, won't we, as well? We won't always stay in the same bit. But you mentioned that straight off, which really stuck to me, that importance of storytelling. What can we be doing more of to kind of really get that message out there that there are jobs for all? You sit on boards, you speak openly, you're a great advocate. I've just answered your questions probably, haven't I? But what else can we be doing?
I think it is that visibility. And one of the things that we do a lot of, and I've actually taken inspiration from, so very early on when I became a managing director, I took real inspiration from our good friend Chelsea Slater. So they had just launched Innovate Hair, and I had a lot of conversations with her about this kind of women in tech, what are the barriers? What is it that we're not seeing, or that those kind of male dominated spaces aren't seeing, and why aren't women, moving into those roles? And because it was just me and Patrick at the time, I was like, right, okay, if we grow, if we're successful, I really want a diverse team. And so I set that kind of bar for myself from the off. But the other thing was understanding you can't be diverse if your culture doesn't support it. And that's not just diversity in terms of gender, that is diversity in terms of everybody. So being able to have those kind of open conversations about people's backgrounds, where they're from, kind of what they're passionate about, what they love. And I think being able to share those stories more about the people who are in your team and what they're doing and where they're from and how they've got to the position that they've got to is really key. And we try to do a lot of work with the Knowledge Quarter as well. So they bring people to our office. I do workshops with year 10s, year 11s sometimes. And it's just about trying to do my best to be as visible as possible. And I'm really open. Again, I'm dyslexic and ADHD. So I talk about that to the children that come in, or the young people that come into our spaces. I'm very open about everything. And I think the transparency is really key. Like, don't hide behind what people think a CEO is supposed to be, or, yes, you've got to be professional, of course, but being transparent and being open about who you are and where you come from, I think is really important as well.
And I know this is really important at UU, isn't it? Because you have such a variety of careers. What are you doing there to really make these careers feel attractive and accessible? The same, make it for all.
Yeah, and it's really, really important. I mean, we've moved to the language of opportunity for all because we want that background, that diverse background. Actually, they'll see something completely differently to how I will, to how some other person in the room will. And actually having that will move us forward as a company. We're trying to obviously get in there early, because I think young females, it's not a sexy subject in their eyes, shall we say. But actually it's fascinating. When I kind of fell into United Utilities. And when I got there, I was like, wow, I had no idea how complex it was. I just turned the tap on and took it for granted like most people do. But actually, when you see kind of how it's made up and the process it goes through and all the people have to do all their parts to kind of get that to people's taps is fascinating. So I think what we're trying to do is kind of get into schools. We do a lot. So I'm a governor of a school, and I regularly go, I'll come and talk to your kids. I will happily come and talk to your kids to just kind of bring it to life. I'll take old pipes in, because I'm so sad. I carry old pipes around and new pipes and show them the difference of an old pipe to a new pipe, just to kind of make it real and bring it to life and make them realise that it's not a boring science subject, which is kind of the stigma attached to it. And actually realise you're providing a service that every single person in this country, and particularly in the Northwest where we serve, needs. If we're not there doing what we do, when you get up in the morning, there's no cup of tea, there's no brushing your teeth, there's no shower, and it's just the everyday essentials that we provide. I think when you realise you are part of that big system, that it sort of brings it to life for the younger generation to go, oh, I could be part of that and actually help communities. So we try and sell it a bit like that and bring that reality check to them.
Jo, what would you take in your kit bag to a school? Like, Kate's got the pipes. What would you take, Jen?
3D printed bits or bits of product that we've created that we're allowed to share and talk about.
Difficult. Post-it notes. Yeah, I would go post-it note wise. I think that's the thing in tech that I think is often overlooked, especially from the younger girls in school. So when you ask them, what do you think tech is? And they're like, oh, you sit in a dark room and you code away and it's a black screen and it's like what it is in the movies. And actually kind of demystifying that and going, well, you use your phone every day. Have you noticed that there's been a problem potentially with an app? And they go, oh yeah, like this doesn't work properly. And I'm like, okay, so you've just done testing, and you start to unlock all of these extra roles that they've not really thought of in the tech community and realise that their experience can be used in tech. So yeah, I'd probably take Post-it notes and some Sharpies to try and get some ideas off them as well.
See what we were over in Newcastle a few weeks back, and we did exactly that, didn't we, Jo? We were launching a Northeast hub of We Are Power, and we did exactly old school Post-it notes. But I think there is something, absolutely around this. It all starts. We know that stereotypes are formed by the age of 4, 5, 6, even. And what would we, if you had magic wands, what would you want to put onto the school curriculum that would help change this? Because careers guidance, our schools are stretched, aren't they? You all know this, being a governor, and your sister, who you did mention.
So sorry.
Sorry. What's your sister's name? Sarah. She loves you. What would you want to put onto the curriculum? Because I think you just talked about we've just done testing. Mm-hmm. Is it as simple as breaking these things down that you're going to do when you get into secondary school, you're going to be putting projects together, making things. There needs to be some change, doesn't there? That has to be the simple. Maybe not pipes. I don't know. Maybe pipes. But what would you put on there to really make this, to help boost the careers appetite?
I think the thing I'd love to see more than anything is actually project management. And I know that sounds quite boring, but actually when you look at project management, you see all the different roles and responsibilities within a project. So if you were to do a tech project, for example, and you can then see that the tech, you've got the tech, the physical engineering, the coding, the electronics, whatever that is, but then you've also got the customer outreach. You've also got the marketing, the branding. How does this actually look? The design of it. How do people feel about it? Just everything to do with it. Because unless you actually understand kind of how to put a project together, and then even the project manager role is an important role, because without it, it doesn't happen. It doesn't get delivered. So being able to actually see all the different roles involved in either bringing a product to market or bringing, managing utilities, just being able to actually see in the everyday what roles there are actually available. Because I think the way subjects are taught, it's so top level and it's very unrelated to the outside world. I think sometimes, people say, oh, when are you going to use trigonometry? It's like, well, if you're an engineer, it's a really key bit of maths. It's really important. But, then it's like, oh, graphic design. It's like, well, where you use graphic design for your branding. And yes, we've got AI, but it doesn't replace a graphic designer. So it's kind of like understanding the different pockets you could fit into.
It's almost like it feels a whole... The careers guidance is a whole reset, isn't it? Yeah. And it's almost like a language upgrade, isn't it, in some respects?
I was going to say language is key. I think we group it all as science, but there are so many components to that. When I think about what we do, from testing the water in a laboratory to physically going out and engineering a solution to treat the water that we get from a lake or a river, it's so different. But we just group it all as science. And it's how do we bring it to life? Whether it's through pipes or physical.
I'm not dissing the pipes.
I love the pipes. I love the pipes. But it's bringing it to life for them. Because you said up to the age of 6, it's play, it's role play at that age. So how do you kind of break down a science and make it tangible and fun and make them realise, well, that's how you get your water and physically, mini process.
So we've got our talent in the business. How do we make sure that the culture, we mentioned culture before, what does good culture look like? What makes you want to stay? What do organisations, top tips? Because we always like people to go away with top tips. So whether you're watching, live or you're watching back on, whether you're a leader, whether you're part of a team, you can't just buy culture, right? But what really makes someone feel as though they want to stay and belong?
So I think for me, it's listening to your employees. So listening to the different needs that different people have. And then also willing to make some change off the back of that. So like whether that's physical, like the physical space that's there, whether it's, how you send out meeting information before the meeting takes place, so that those that do need a bit of time to process what the meeting's going to be about or do some prep can do that. I think small incremental changes that you can do and that just then become part of the everyday, I think makes a big difference.
And you are a big organisation, right? A large employer, you know, across the whole of the Northwest, particularly of England. And so you're really looking at retention at scale.
Yeah.
You know, that's not mission easy, is it?
No, not at all.
What really matters when it comes? Because often you get people that come in and not everybody wants to be at the top, do they? People just want to exist within a business.
We don't want everybody at the top.
Yeah.
We need people to come in and do the do, so to speak, you know, who actually deliver something.
So how do you help your teams and colleagues thrive, if you like, within the world?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting what your point particularly is about listening to your employees and understanding them. Everybody is different. And that's a good thing. And it's celebrating that difference because everybody brings something different to the party, and embracing that, you know, and kind of creating the culture of teamwork is massive. But yeah, I think for us, it's that taking people on a journey. So we are constantly having to change and evolve because the world's changing and evolving. What our customers wanted yesterday, they'll want something different tomorrow. So how we change it's constant. And everybody goes through that change curve differently. And I think it's understanding that. And it's painting the picture of why we need to change. Because I think if employees feel like they're just being done unto, they won't go on that journey with you and they won't see the benefit. If you paint the picture of why we need to change for the benefit of our communities and our customers and get them excited about it, you automatically bring them with you and they kind of motivated to want to go the extra mile. You don't have to ask them. They'll just want to because you've created this vision of where we want to go as a company and they're bought into it and part of it rather than dragging them along. I think that's sometimes organisations make that mistake sometimes.
Sometimes it's putting the brakes on or listen more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Jen, you know, you work in a very fast-paced environment. You're making magic every day, aren't you? But what have you learned about retaining good talent and evolving your culture? Because the world changes, right?
Yeah. So I think for us, because we're a really small team, we have to make sure that everybody kind of fits from the beginning, but also because we tell this story of we want to make products that actually impact. So we work with really good clients. We basically bring everybody along. So everybody's role is crucial to the business. So they understand that they own their role. And also that has a massive impact on the growth and the success of the business. So they feel like they're directly contributing to that. But also we're transparent as well. So whether we're doing really well or we're not doing so well, they're brought along with that. And they're also brought along with the vision and the mission of what it is we're trying to achieve. And that's really helps us. Because we're a small business and the world is always changing and the economy is always changing and sales cycles change. And, you know, we have to change and evolve and adapt with that. And that transparency of where we are, what we're doing is so important. And I think the other thing as well is our staff, when they're talking to other people about the culture, they say we're open and we're welcoming and we're a really good company to work for. And because I can say it all day long, but unless it actually comes from them themselves, that they feel it's a good place to work, then it's it doesn't matter what you do unless they believe it. And I think they've all really bought into what we're trying to do and achieve. So yeah.
And I think that transparency is key. And equal, I think one of the big things is around you guys are doing things everyday things that we all need, that the world needs. But this comes with big decisions and big responsibility. Was there a point, Jo, when you suddenly realise, oh my God, this is a lot of big decisions I'm making here?
Yeah.
And how did you kind of come to terms with that?
So I think it kind of happened gradually, and then suddenly on like some of my previous projects, and I was like, oh, these are quite big systems that I'm having to try and navigate, and I think over time you have to kind of back yourself a little bit, and also you get the evidence from other people as well, and you've got a bit of a community around you that can help kind of build you up. But I think sometimes I do still question myself of, is this the right thing to do? Is this the top priority for what the business wants and for the people? But I think over time you kind of get a bit of a feeling of, well, if it feels right for me, therefore I can back my decision and kind of explain it a bit more. So yeah, you gain a bit of confidence in that.
And this super turbos up for you, doesn't it? Because your decisions, and that affects millions of customers.
Yeah.
As you well know.
Yes.
I guess. How do you approach making those choices when sometimes it's not just as easy, it's not just a simple answer, is it?
It's never a simple answer. I really wish there was sometimes. Yeah, you can be in the middle of quite a large scale incident and you are literally impacting the communities of thousands of people, not just from stopping them having a drink or a glass of water or flushing the toilet, but, kind of running businesses. The impact's huge. And when you're sat in that environment thinking, I really need to make the right decision here, but there's multiple things to think about. And I just kind of come back and go, we've got core values, and one of them I live by, which is do the right thing. So I just need to make sure I'm thinking about what's the best outcome, the quickest, effective outcome for our customers, and just back myself in the room. And I think the first time I was in that scenario, I was like, yikes, it's just me. I'm the one who's ultimately going to make that final decision. It was a bit of a start moment of slight imposter syndrome creeped in. I was like, I haven't got time to do that. I need to crack on because there's customers relying on me, vulnerable customers, hospitals, we cover everything. And you just have to kind of go, right, I'm going to make the right decision here because it'll never be the perfect one, but I'll prioritize it to make sure we prioritize our vulnerable customers, hospitals, and then work it back from there, and just trust that you're trying to do the right thing, and then learn from it, more importantly, afterwards, to go, right, how do we do it better next time? But yeah, it's fast.
Lifelong learning.
Absolute lifelong learning. Constant.
And Jen, as an entrepreneur, you're leading innovation and growth every day, every minute while you're sat here. And that can be quite relentless, right?
Yeah.
How do you stay resilient as a founder, as a co-founder and the boss when it sits with you?
So I think I've had to do a lot of learning on how to actually make those kind of make decisions and hold that responsibility. And one of the, I think I was listening to a podcast, I think it was with Barack Obama, and he was talking about, obviously they make life and death decisions. And basically, as long as you've got 51% of the information, you have to make the decision with that, because you can't get stuck in the what ifs all day, every day. And because our business is small and it is forever changing, we do get things where, a customer hasn't paid on time, and that's going to, what's the impact of that? And being able to analyse what the impact's going to be and know, months and months ahead, okay, so these are the things we need to do to make sure that next year or the year after, everything's going to be okay. What are the processes we need to have? What are the changes we need to make? And then again, how do I bring everybody along with those decisions? And because they have to trust me, because I pay their wages and all of those things, and because we're not supported like a big company, it is all on me. and
I always
challenging.
think about the resilience. We talk a lot about resilience, and it's something that I don't think you ever even come across. Like, you definitely don't come across it at school, or that language.
No.
It's more about crack on and do it. But is there something in your roles that you've had to be resilient that you maybe didn't expect in your current role?
Maybe not so much in my current role, but I think just being a woman in tech. So like even when I was at uni and I got my first job as a placement student, and kind of getting some of the conversations of, oh, well, you've only been offered that because people have a quota to hit and things like that. And I'm like, oh,
Here we go.
And it sets you off in a case of, you came into the workplace, you've got this bit of doubt, imposter syndrome, and you've kind of got to prove yourself over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's kind of built up over time of having to kind of stand up for yourself, or not be the quiet person in the room, or sometimes rely on your allies to really voice your opinion again so that it's heard, and then hope that there's a conversation of, well, actually, that's what Joe said. Can we actually just listen to her in the first place rather than spending 10 minutes going around in a circle to say the same thing? And I think over time that has built up, again, a bit of confidence, but also trust in others to do the right thing. Yeah.
Are you, Kate?
I think leadership is such a fundamental part of the company, and I think it's realised it's not a title. It's a decision to make change and to help others change and shape the future. And I think it's realising the power you yield of everyone's looking to you. You are literally casting a shadow. And if you don't cast the right shadow, the ripple effect, it can be positive or negative. And I think it's realising that every day to go, how I'm behaving, because we all have good days and bad days, is making sure that that ripple effect is good and we're driving the right change and the right culture. And I think I always try and remember that every single day, is that I'm here to lead a team, and that team's not going to do well unless I shape and push and kind of bring them along on that journey.
And Jen, what advice would you give to anyone watching out there who's got that idea, that spark, but they don't think they can because it looks like the doors are closed? What would you do? What would Florence do, right?
What would Florence do? I think...
That feels like a tote bag, doesn't it?
No, what would Florence do?
I would buy that. Okay, merch.
I think if you've got a spark of an idea, something that you think could have real positive change, one of the things you kind of have to do is you kind of have to really look at who changes, who benefits, why this is needed, and kind of really build up that story of why what you want to bring, whatever that happens to be, is required, and having something that you can go to whoever it is with and say, I've had this idea, I think we need to do it this way, I think this is missing, and it's missing because of whatever reason, and kind of really understand the why you want to do something. And Patrick forever laughs at me a little bit, because whenever we have a client come in and I meet them and I'm not 100% sure, I just say, so why do you want to do this? And it does actually make people really stop in their tracks, because sometimes they're so excited about the tech and what have you, and I'm like, why do we need this? Like, what is it going to do? And always asking, why are we doing this? And
does he roll his eyes?
I think everybody does because I feel as though you have to challenge yourself. And if you ask yourself why, so I'm forever asking, why am I doing this? Like, when it's hard, when it's difficult, and we were saying about that resilience, why am I doing this? Why me? Why have I taken on this role? Why do I think I can deliver these amazing innovation projects and help all these people? And it always comes back to why, like, why are we doing it? Why are any of us doing what we're doing? And knowing that gives you the push forward.
It's know your why, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's know your why. And I think the thing that's come across today, since my scribbling, I'm not just writing, but the storytelling is key. I think that we started right up front with that, sharing the stories, making them visible. You are all role models, right? And I'm going to ask you a question in a second. That you're at a party. Doesn't look like a party vibe here, but it could be. You don't know what's in the clubs, right? How would you explain? Yes, there we are again. How would you explain to your friends what you do? Go on, Kate.
Yeah, it's so difficult. But I think how I describe it is, I'm the reason when you turn the taps on in the morning. I'm the reason you've got water coming out of them. It's a basic term, and kind of shaping how we provide that service for many more decades to come, like we have the last few decades. So.
And do you get a moment when people go, you do that? Yeah. That's why you have them pipes in your bag everywhere we go. At parties and everything, right?
I'm known for the pipes and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's really hard for people to, if you don't work in the industry, is realise that, well, it falls for free. It comes out of the sky for free. So why are you charging me to kind of turn the tap? And, it's kind of explaining to people quite passionately about it, whether it's pipes or otherwise, how that gets there, and kind of how wonderful it is that we have, because not every country is that lucky. Yeah. We are really, really fortunate where we live. We have, 98% performance in kind of water quality. You don't get that everywhere. If you think about when you go on holiday, we buy bottled water. We're really fortunate in the fact that we've got it nailed in this country, and I feel really passionate and happy that I work for a company that can do that.
What would you say, Jo?
So if you ask my friends, they would just say she works in tech. And they'd leave it at that. She's the techie one. But I guess what I would try and get across is that I try to design and shape long-term software solutions for like future-proofing it for the environment, for the sector as a whole, but also making sure that more users are able to use the products that we create.
So it creates that ripple effect too.
Yeah.
And I suppose for me, so I always start with, I always say I run a tech company. And they're like, okay, so what does that involve?
Coding.
And then we go into, so we do product development and we take people, our clients' ideas all the way through to kind of commercialization, being able to make them at scale. They're like, oh, what kind of products? And then it's like, so we do everything from utilities. So we're working with electricity distribution companies. We've worked with gas networks. We've worked with the Environment Agency, and we've created fish counting software. And everything that we do is all brand new technology. And then they're like, oh, so you create new technology? And I'm like, yes, that's what we do. And it is what we do. Everything that we've created has never existed before. So it is always brand new ideas that are being brought to life, really. So, well, I'm not the inventor.
Take it.
I'm not the inventor.
Says who? You're the storyteller.
I'm the inventor. But yeah, it's our clients, and basically we support them to get where they want to go. They've identified a need, whether that's in medical device or whatever it is. They've identified a need that's required, but they don't have the technical expertise. And basically our team are that technical expertise to bring that idea to life and bring it to the customers. So that's what we do.
Now, just as before we kind of close out this special edition of our webinar, what is this, again, people out there watching going, I just didn't know those opportunities for me. You talk about tech, I think it's coding or flying a drone, or I can't do any of that. You think it's infrastructure or utilities. I haven't got all the ologies, or I haven't got the, I haven't got the community or someone to speak to, or running your own business. Are you crazy? It's like, what would you say?
I think it's really the reason I wanted to run my own business was because I'd worked in companies before and I felt like I could do it differently. And I must have been mad at the time, but it was something that I was like, it's something I really want to have a go at. And we decided, so me and Patrick, who run it together, we decided when we were 27, so we're 42 now, we decided when we were 27 to basically put all our eggs in a basket and go, right, we're going to run this business. If it doesn't work, we can get jobs. It doesn't matter. And we hadn't built up the lifestyle. So we didn't have a house, we didn't have a mortgage, we didn't have kids. So we had a baby just as we started the business, which I think was a bit mad. But we didn't have that lifestyle, and we kind of took the chance as young as possible, so that if it failed, we didn't lose anything. And I think it's knowing, even if you're like mid-career and you want to change, I think it's knowing what you bring and what you're passionate about and why you want to do something. We started a business so we could have flexibility, and that flexibility is amazing. And yeah, but it's a lot of hard work, and you need determination. But it's that early career bit is have a go. If you've got a bit of an idea, have a go. What is the worst that can happen? If it doesn't work out, you can go and get another job. You can go and do something else. It's not the end.
No path is like that.
No.
Kate, what's your top tip?
I think self-belief. So I think you never feel ready for anything. You're never going to feel ready. And I think if you wait till the point you'll never take that leap of faith, and you'll never test yourself. And I think it's, when you get bad coach people who look at a CV, like look at their CV and then look at the job offer and they go, oh, but I've not got that and I've not got that. And it's like, that's how you learn. That's your development when you get the job, and you need to go in with that mindset, and it's trying to make people aware. Go for it. What if you got to lose? You will learn so much on that journey, not only yourself, but kind of skills. So yeah, self-belief and going for it.
Jo?
Yeah, I think similar to that, transferable skills. So everyone's got different walks that they've been on to get to where they are. you'll pick up different things along the way. And I think especially in like more of the engineering sector, bringing those skills and different viewpoints can help really shape solutions to work for more people. So yeah, know your transferable skills and use them to your advantage.
Yeah.
Know your why. Why not? I think is one of my takeaways. I think what's come through today as well, we talked about the storytelling, but backing yourself as well.
Yeah.
I feel like that is something right now. Yes, we've not talked about mentors, advocates, which we're really passionate about here, but I think often it starts with you. It starts with you and backing yourself. And you, if not you, then who? So just because it's labelled as an industry that you don't think is welcome, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Get through that door, be more Florence. Sign up for our new merch range. Thank you so much. Thank you to Jo, to Kate, to Jen for joining me. I don't know where the time goes. Any comments, please pop them into the chat and we'll pick up with them post the event and keep the conversation going. That's always the really important thing. Many, many, many big thanks to United Utilities for powering today's session as well. We always talk about International Women's Day. It's not just for Christmas. It's not just for one day. Let's keep these conversations. Let's enable. Let's bring people into our workplaces. Let's create opportunities and let's back ourselves. My name is Simone. You've been watching the We Are Power webinar. Thank you so much for joining us.